Okay. Hi. Good evening, guys. Today is like 22nd of November. About 2 days left from 2 days left for CAT. Actually, not even 2 days. I mean, tomorrow you'll most likely be just going around and figuring out whether your hall ticket is in place, your Aadhaar card is in place, or how to reach the center. Hopefully, you have all reached the center much before the timing goes up. But before we start, before you go to the final CAT examination, we have a very special guest, ARKS Srinivas from CL. I mean, ARKS, this is going to be what, your 20th CAT?
if you don't count my original cat, then yes.
So roughly, so 20th CAT is what ARKS is going to have. And I mean, at this stage, probably ARKS would have probably seen everything which is possible in the CAT examination. I mean, that is roughly about it. I mean, he has seen it from your percentiles not being revealed to normalization to the computer-based testing, 40 slots to now four slots to now 2 slots. And I mean, basically, he has seen everything in terms of the CAT examination as a student to now a director, the head of CL MBA division. So, I mean, we will not waste too much of time introducing him anymore. But before we do that, please make sure that you subscribe to the CL's channel. The link will be there in the description. Please do subscribe to our channel. We will also be having ARKS on Sunday after he does the CL's analysis for a brief chat on how CAT is going to look at on that particular day. So, with that done, let's go to ARKS straight away. ARKS, I mean, I don't want to ask your predictions, but let's start with what do you expect from CAT this year? Do you expect any surprises?
In fact, let me tell you something very interesting. The controversy that CAT has been for a very, very long time, and sometimes, thankfully, no controversies, has been the norm rather than anything else for the IIMs and CAT is concerned. This year, when they put up the the mock test, they normally put up a mock test saying that this is what is going to happen. They put up a mock test which is actually nothing but the original CAT 2018 paper. But hold on. Last year, we had 34 questions in verbal, 32 questions in DI, and 34 questions in quantitative ability, which is 100 questions. This year, when the mock test came in, 34 were, of course, in verbal, 28 were there in DILR, and 38 in quant.
Yeah, I've seen that. So,
of which the first 4 questions were actually the last DI set of LRDI of CAT 2018, whichever slot it was. Now, that is the controversy they started off. And people ask questions, sir, agar 38 questions aa gaya to kya ho jayega? 28 aa jayega to kya ho jayega? Kind of things. So, if at all there is a surprise, would be that they will actually follow the 28, 38 and 34, 28, 38 model. That's the only surprise that I can expect. Otherwise, I think it's going to be very normal. 34, 32. 30.
Okay, now given this, and we actually spoke about this last year also, does it make, I mean, do you have an advantage over the others because you will know the change in pattern before the others do?
I will have the change in pattern.
You are in the slot 2. I mean, the others are in slot 1. Right, I mean, do you think like you guys will have an advantage? Because
frankly speaking, no, for a simple reason. The CAT is an exam which almost nobody gets 300 on 300 or even 250 on 300. Very few, probably you can count.
There's one guy who usually gets, that's it. Yeah.
But there's nobody gets 300, yeah. 250 yeah. Also
nobody
one
gets
chart.
Yeah.
And a handful of them get a 200 plus.
Yes.
So, and those handful of guys who get 200 plus also, Vivek, please realize that they have been really, really simple. And please understand that I am Ahmedabad itself has 400 seats, 200 open category. So I really don't think that it's going to make a difference with 4 questions this side or that side, especially given that 4 questions could be making a difference in DI, because at 4 come aa gaya, farak nahi padta. Most of them don't do more than 3 or 4 sets any which way. Most of them I'm talking about 90% of them don't do more than 4 sets any which way. If that
Plus
is the
there is
case,
slot-wise normalization also, right?
it won't. Exactly. I'm telling you, to be honest with you, and you will tell me that I'm going back to nostalgia. You are, we are going the GMAT GRE way, where everything wants to be perfected, kind of things, which is what the GMAT Council or the ETS guys do.
Yes.
The while there are merits in that, the demerits in that, and I would say a merit in the CAT system used to be that, look, business tomorrow, what you take is going to be very, very uncertain. How? And there are two resources that you have: your knowledge and the time available.
Yes.
How you use this knowledge and the time available is what is going to get you the scores at the end of the day.
Definitely.
So I don't see any reason why there should be 100% certainty, ideally. And that is where the chaff from the wheat, or the wheat from the chaff, can clearly be demarcated.
Yes.
And the really good guys get into a real MBA kind of things. But having said that, well, today there is a news that CLAT is going to reduce the 200 questions to 120 questions or 140 questions because students are going to be stressed out. This is a very big thing these days about students going to be stressed out. You want to dumb things down. I don't know for what reason.
So, I mean, the thing is, okay, so let's look at, I mean, I have seen this industry for 10 years as somebody who's worked in this industry. 10 years ago, when I joined this industry, about 2 lakh, CAT 2008, 2008, about 2,70,000 people took
Correct.
CAT. Right now, you have 2,40,000. The number of IIM seats have probably become 2.5 times.
Correct.
Right. And we have much more clarity about all these things. And yet people think that, I mean, when I gave CAT, I still don't know what my percentile was. Right. I mean, like I gave it in 2001 and I have no idea whether what my percentile was. It's only dependent on the calls. I mean, I did not get any IIM calls. I got probably an MDI call. I'm not sure if I got an MDI call, but yeah, that's roughly about it. There is no reason. I mean, I could not understand like what happened, what went wrong. And today you have every single question's answer being given to you. You can raise a, raise an objection if you want to, if you really feel like it. We have gone towards transparency and yet people are so stressed. Why do you think it is happening?
I think that's with all due respects, but it has to do with the generation expecting everything in a platter. And many people talking about it, saying that, look, we should not stress people out, kind of things. As a country, I think we have reached that position wherein I think we are not. There is at least a part of the country which is developed, if not the entire country as such. There is a developing country, there is an underdeveloped country, and the developing country. That's what this country is all about. And this, unfortunately or fortunately, to a large extent, these IIMs, NLUs, IITs are suddenly become partially for the light. I'm suddenly talking like a socialist.
That's not a problem.
I'm not.
No, but we all know that.
but that's the truth. And at that level, I think trying to be very, very predictive is actually, to my mind, doing injustice to the guys who come out of the campuses at the end of the day. The expectation levels are very, very high. The value levels or the real inputs that they give are very low. I generally believe that we are not doing the right thing to do. So a little bit of ambiguity is always a better thing.
I think you once wrote an article the moment I think it was on one of the online sites where you said that you said that CAT has taken away one of the key components, which was time allocation. When they make
exactly
1 hour. I mean, you just now have 1 hour. I mean, whereas people earlier, they could actually maximize in maths, go ahead and spend extra time in English, or they could maximize in English and go ahead and spend extra time in DILR on maths.
Which is what everybody does if you are a business guy.
Yes.
If you are a business guy, you have to allocate
double down
funds.
On your,
allocate funds where you are the weakest, and maximize your growth where you are the strongest. I think it's so obvious according to me. I mean, maybe the powers that be have a different idea, but I'm pretty sure of this, that by making it 1 hour each, we are not doing justice to the kids itself. For example, a student from an engineering, We'll find it very difficult in quant. Everybody talks about that engineers should not come in. Why? Why should there be a diversity? I mean, they are good, they have reached that position, you give them the chance. Similarly, today, BA, BComs, BSc should be given a chance. I have zero doubt about it. At the same time, why discriminate and kind of force them to do certain things which are probably not what the real world is all about?
I mean, that said, okay, you must have something good to say about the IIMs also, right? I mean,
Oh yeah.
process.
They have been nice enough to, admit to me a long time back, and I think
the transparency. Besides the transparency, what do you think? I mean, like
partial reason why you're calling me is also because I am from that IIM bandwagon. But having said that, I think the best thing that an IIMs give you, and this is something for every kid to learn, is that it gives you an atmosphere, it gives you a network, it gives you a exposure. I don't think I got it as till engineering, till I did my engineering. I think the 2 years, and post that, the kind of doors it opens and gives me again, another thing is opportunity. I don't think anybody else does.
And the self-confidence, more than anything else, the self-confidence. I mean, you have at least a backup, like tomorrow, even if you want to start a business or you want to take any chance in life, you have a backup saying that, okay, A, I have done this earlier, and B, kuch to kar lenge, right? I mean, I will get a job. Worst case scenario, I'll get a job.
And trust me, Vivek, it's a lot to do in this world with the confidence levels. If Virat Kohli and the Rohit Sharmas of the world suddenly are doing extremely well, or for that matter, Mayank Agarwals of the world, it is the kind of a confidence and the backing that they get because of where they are. And a lot of people who don't do well, I'm talking about sports, also because of confidence. Suddenly your badminton, whether it's Saina Nehwal or...
I mean, you can, the biggest
all of them
example...
are going down or up because
the biggest example is probably South Africa. I mean, like every single time they come to the semi-final and they blow up. I mean, because till the time they win that one, I mean, like, for example, England could win that World Cup because probably they won one T20 World Cup. Otherwise, they also had that hoodoo behind them, right? We could never win.
It's a jinx has to be broken, and once it is broken, and it's true for every individual, and I mean, it's not just about nations, but about individual, and every individual can make it happen. And I think CAT is a great starter in that sense.
Okay. So let's look at something. Okay. So you said, like, first thing we have discussed is uncertainty. If it is in short, let's look at what he said. I mean, if it is different for you, it is going to be different for others also. Just like if it is difficult for you, it is difficult for others also. Now, we cannot change the way in which we take the exam. I mean, you have to have verbal first, then LRDI, then maths, right? That is, unfortunately, that's the way it is set. Now, before that, you have about 15-20 minutes to start the test. What should you do in that? Any tips?
Yeah, it's a good question that you asked. In fact, that is the time when you keep looking at left and right, you want to close your eyes, etc. My take has been, see, one of the key things that I've always thought about, and I believe it is true, is that you would do well if you are in rhythm. Typically, it's that form, as somebody calls it.
Definitely.
Okay. To get that form, there are 2-3 things one has to do. You need to get back into the mood. They will give you the papers, the rough sheets, for example. So you have a strategy. Your strategy could be that, boss, I will do my verbal first, my RC later. Similarly, in DI, I will give my timing first 35 minutes or 50 minutes. Or I will do my strategy in quant as a round 1, round 2. These are all strategies that you have in your mind. That 15 minutes that I have, I will write down in 3 separate pages. See, boss, mera ye strategy hai. What am I doing is I'm concentrating. Point 1. Second thing is I will read the instructions quickly and start. So that, that first thing, if I'm reading a RC, I'm not suddenly reading anything else. I'm reading it. It's getting into the slow rhythm kind of things. Having a plan. It's almost like gearing up for the battle.
It's like a warm-up.
It's like a battle, not relaxing. Lots of people, what they do, they'll sit like this and concentrate, etc. I don't think that's the right thing. You need to get back into the mild value mode. And okay, this is it. Okay, now I start. I'm back. And that, I think, will make a lot of difference. I used to do that, frankly. I used to always be in mind, even after having not required to get into an IIM once again. I think I am absolutely excited to do that. And that excitement is what is, I think, is quite.
Okay, so that is the start of the test. Now, usually whenever you switch from one mode to the other, I mean, like in GMAT, you actually can take a break in between. You can schedule a break in between after 2 sections, and you can, there's also an option where you can actually ask for a 5-minute break. You can take 2 5-minute breaks or something like that. In CAT, you don't have it. So suppose you do a verbal sort of a section, and then how do you switch over from a verbal to an LRDA? What I mean,
Oh,
you have to throw out verbal and then get into the LRDI mode. What is the fastest way according to you to get into that?
To me, again, having said what I just now said of being involved, at the same time, one of the things I have always believed in is that you're right about it. And it's a switch. It's a slight switch. And that switch requires a gap. It could be a 15-minute gap, 15-second gap. So therefore, I would say, don't worry about losing 15 seconds. Take then a break. Look at what is it. Go to your DI section. Let's say it started off. Don't worry about it. Go to your DI page that you have written for yourself. Okay, this is my plan. I'm going to work on the plan. Okay, ARKS, don't worry about it. This is what I want to do, and then start my plan. You know, it's a. You need to tell yourself all the time. This is about, as you rightly said a little while back, self-confidence. You remember? And that confidence, frankly, will come, Vivek, only when you are telling yourself, that you're doing the right thing without bothering about what has happened in the past.
Now, and this switch is very important because I've seen a lot of students, DILR takes almost everyone by surprise. I mean, last 2 years, 3 years, I've said like, there are a lot of students who say like, at the end of DILR section, I just wanted to switch off the computer and go home because I know my CAT was over. I mean, my personal belief is that usually, if you're a good student, if you have messed up, you are not as bad as you consider it to be. Right? I mean, like you can still salvage it because if it is tougher for you and you've prepared well, there is still a hope over there. Because last year we had the same story, right? I mean, DILR was supposed to be easier than last year, but the cutoffs are roughly the same. The scores were roughly the same, in spite of being a slightly easier DILR. The problem last year was also that the maths was lengthy. What do you do in that case? I mean, like when you have your strongest section usually comes out at the very end. What do you do in that case?
Frankly, Vivek, it's good that the stronger section also is at the end. When everybody is panicking, you are saying, hey, this is my take. Then you have a rejuvenated thought. You're rejuvenated because that is your strength. It's like eating the pie at the last. This is mine. Dessert at the last. And this is what you like to do, possibly. So I don't think it's a negative. And for every person, to my mind, I think we need to figure out, if I am a guy who is very weak in quant, the way I will look at it is, I'll say, hey, listen, I am weak in quant. I have finished whatever best I could do. All I have to now do is don't necessarily get worried about this. Pick my 10, 12, 13, whatever questions and finish it. That is, if I'm a guy who is very bad in quant, I will do. If I'm a very good guy in quant, I will exactly do this. My negativity is over. Now I'll maximize my score.
Okay. So
I don't think there is anything more stronger than a mental makeup as far as these exams are concerned.
I think in these cases, I think it's more like what you will call a Steve was sort of an approach. Even you are hit on your chin, the next ball you should put it out for a 4 or something like that.
Absolutely,
Worst case scenario.
Absolutely.
Okay, so let's get to the predictions part of it. Okay, I know predictions are always going to be wrong. I mean, this entire year's predictions are going to be, I have been pathetic. I mean, like I said, Modi will not win. Modi won. And I mean, like, so it can only go downhill from here. So, I mean, that is something over here. So the question is pretty straightforward. Okay. Now, when you look at a paper, there's usually a theme, right? I mean, like, for example, there are bellwether constituencies. Like the moment Rahul Gandhi lost Amethi, we knew that, it's going to be a battering over there. Or when, in US, Ohio, if you win Ohio, you basically win the elections, right? That's how like we all figured out that is the case. Right. So what are the things which you are going to look out for each of these sections? So in verbal, if there is one thing which happens, you decide, okay, the paper is going to be tough because of this type of question. Paper is going to be easy because of this type of question. What are those type of things? I mean, anything which you look for, any trends which you look for in the paper?
If in verbal ability, suddenly, if you look at the last 2 years papers, there has been almost no psychology or philosophy. It is very, very straightforward. Language may be difficult, questions may be lengthier, but it was a straightforward understanding of a lot of things. A bit of science was there, a bit of economics was there, general ideas were there. But suddenly, if you go back to 2000 and 1999, Vivek, you were still a kid, I guess. you wrote your CAT 2001?
2001. It was like.
So 99, 2000. So you're just about ready for that.
Yeah.
Those papers were different.
Yes.
But then cutoffs were very less too.
Yes.
I remember in CAT 2000, there were 55 questions in quantitative ability. And if you remember, as you correctly said in the very beginning, there was no percentile. So I did not know what would have been the cutoff.
Yes.
And as at that point of time, already a person teaching, it was a gamble that we took. I did exactly 8 questions out of 55 and I got calls, all 4 calls. 8 questions out of 55. And we knew that the either cutoff, I don't know. I still don't know the cutoff, but I know that it is less than 8.
Yes, yes.
What I am trying to explain is, I think to my mind, the bellwether kind of things is not what I will look at it. I was saying, if you have not wasted more than 30 minutes in any section, I think you will still make it. I'll explain this. I'll explain this in a small moment.
Please.
Let's take data interpretation and logical reasoning. You are an expert in that also, Vivek, and you have done so much. 3 sets acha karne ke liye, you just need 30 minutes. So even if the first 30 minutes go, next 30 minutes can get you a 95 plus percentile. You agree?
I mean, my basic concern with people is something like this. Your first aim is to get 3 sets. Anything after that is your bonus. I mean, you hit 3, you are safe. I mean, it's like a safe. I mean, it's like a safe target. I mean, you are safe, or it's like in a football strategy, you're hitting 2 goals, right? So if you still lose after 2 goals, it's really bad. But
so therefore, what I will tell you, and taking up from there what you're saying exactly, what I would say therefore is, boss, do not worry about losing half the paper also.
Half the paper, you can still be 99%.
And you will still be in the game. You are still in the game.
Yes.
Only when you lose half an hour in every section is when you will say, oh shit, CAT 2020, when is it?
Okay. Okay, so let's go to the predictions. What do you think will happen to English? Do you think it will be easier, tougher than last year?
See, I'll go back to your Modi prediction.
No, the thing is, I mean, okay. Let me make life easier for you. I am giving my predictions. I think personally.
No. One second. I'll tell you why I'm saying Modi predictions. Yeah. It is not that you wanted Modi to win or Modi. It's not about your predictions. Yeah. To my mind, Vivek, you wanted possibly Modi to lose for various reasons, because he might have banned certain things. You and I know. I am saying similarly, my prediction is hope, because this is what, and I wish the verbal RC will become a little more tougher than it has been for the last few years. That is one. So it's not a prediction, it's an expectation. Okay. Similarly, my bet is DILR should not be as so to say difficult than last year. It should be slightly lesser difficult than last year. Therefore, 50 marks or 46 marks will be a 99%. Last year also the same. In fact, I believe that DI will be very similar.
Yeah, that is my expectation also.
Quant will be very similar. I am expecting that verbal will go a wee bit difficult. That's my prediction.
So you mean to say that the overall scores might come down a little bit?
Might come
I mean,
down a
last
bit.
year, what about 160 odd, 165 was almost 99 percentile.
No, 155 was 99.
Yeah,
153 to
155. Yeah,
155.
yeah.
This year, I expect about 145 to 150.
So that's what you expect.
Without
I mean,
seeing the paper.
my expectation was the first two were almost bang on. Like VARC will be slightly trickier because they have let people lose very easily. I mean, like VARC has become like, I mean, at 70 percentile to get a 99. I mean, at 70 to get a 99 percentile is, I mean, ridiculously high for VARC. It does not test. I mean, it does not test the people. I mean, DILR, I think it might be roughly the same. Maybe because people have become more accustomed to that sort of a DILR, the score might go up, but the percentile might go up, but difficulty level will be the same. I think maths, I think, might become less lengthier. I'm not sure if it is simpler or not. Maths might become less lengthier. So I mean, my basic thing is CAT was half the score is basically 99 percentile is roughly my expectation. Let's
That
see
is
what happens.
exactly what has been. In fact, there are two things I have always said, Vivek. 50% mark is 99 percentile.
Yes.
33% mark is 90 percentile. That's so 100 should ideally be 90 percentile.
Yes.
This is my prediction even this year.
Yes. Yeah, because that has been the trend for, I mean, 2001 to 2019. I mean, so
out
of 18 years
from 1991, 1992 also. According to us, though we don't have the numbers.
No, because I think I think it made a slight shift from 2003-4 after the paper got leaked. But even before that, it had started. Like 50% used to be the qualifying marks for
14, 15 it changed. 15 it changed. 16 it changed. 17 it changed majorly.
17
18.
The maths was really.
It was not math. I think they were just making sure that, because Ahmedabad made it, and Ahmedabad had a stated objective that they wanted non-engineers. I don't think this year there is no overt such kind of a discussion by the convener of IIM Kozhikode, as they call it. But I think, therefore, it will be very similar to the last year or the year. I mean, it will be somewhere. Lots of people are expecting it will be between the 17, 18 levels. But I suspect that it will be with verbal. If it becomes a little more difficult, I think it will be same as the overall score will come down by 6-7 marks.
And let's look at the other interesting parts which happen at the end of CAT. You usually have somebody going inside the CAT hall and taking a photo and putting it on Facebook. You have some. You think I mean, those things will happen?
I think it will happen more these times rather than previously.
Why?
People will say, simply because I think it might happen more. That's what I'm saying. Simply because I think people are a lot more nonchalant, non-serious, the lower level. So they say, "Okay, publicity ke liye kuch bhi kar sakte hain."
Okay. One last question before I leave you is one thing which you would like to tell people before they get into the examination hall.
This is something which I think, Vivek, you and I have said this to students so many times. So I'll just repeat what I have always said. It doesn't matter really what they have done in life till now. It doesn't matter how many marks they have got or not got. But I will only say, boss, what matters is how you utilize that 60 minutes in each of the sections. And not get bogged down with what you don't know. This is something which is true for a lot of people in this world.
Yes.
What you can't get, you won't get, forget it. Can you just concentrate on what you can get? And that probably will get a lot of people a lot of positive surprise. That's all.
I think one of the best advice that I used to get was you concentrate on those 120, 180 minutes. Don't think what happened in the past, what will happen in the future. There are a lot of people who think, okay, I might get into this, I might get married to my friend or whatever it is. I mean, like, don't be present at that time. I mean, you just show up there. I mean, just showing up itself, you beat 20, 30,000 people, because 20,000 odd people will not write tomorrow. I mean, on Sunday anyways. I mean, that's been the trend over there.
Sure.
So that is what I will say. Thank you very much, ARKS, for joining in. Guys, ARKS Srinivas, Career Launcher, CEO, MBA Division. We will see him again on Sunday at around 9:30 once he finishes all the Career Launcher part. Till we meet again the next time, goodbye and all the best for your CAT examination.
Thank you.